Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I like to talk to you guys about the concept of delaying gratification. I am creating this video mainly because I'm inspired by this book that I am recently reading. It's authored by Dr. Jordan Peterson, a clinical psychologist based out of Toronto, Canada. The book is called The 12 Rules of Life, and in one of the chapters he talked about the development framework of delaying gratification and why it's important. So as the title of this video suggests, I would like to discuss with you why I think that we shouldn't delay gratification. He defined delaying gratification as an act knowing that something better might be attained in the future by giving up something of value in the present. Delaying gratification is something that all of us practice in our day-to-day. If you think about it, all of us have a propensity to sacrifice the present in exchange for a better future. The system of our society is even set up in this way to convince us that this is the best way to conduct ourselves. Take the analogy of a very, very long and dark tunnel. All of us are essentially slowly walking through that tunnel, and we, from the corner of our eyes, can see a very, very dim light towards the end of that tunnel, but we're not so sure. And we have this voice constantly telling us that if we just keep going, if we just walk a little faster, run a little faster, we will eventually get to that light. Just like many of you, I have grown up being disciplined by this concept of delaying gratification. My grandma would always tell us this Chinese proverb, directly translated to English, is called bitter first, sweet later. Essentially just means that if you endure the bitterness of the now, you will be guaranteed some kind of sweetness in the future. That was her way of getting my brother and my cousin and I to work without complaining. When I was a kid, and just like a normal kid, I didn't like eating my vegetables. And so my parents would tell me, if you eat your vegetables first, then you can have more meat and more dessert. And that always worked. Every time sitting at the dining table, I'd always be the first person to eat all the vegetables, at least finish my portion as quickly as I can. Once I've endured the bitterness of eating vegetables, I will be promised with the reward of eating meat and desserts. There was a very famous psychological experiment done at Stanford in the 70s called the marshmallow experiment. During this experiment, the researchers would hand over a marshmallow to a bunch of kids, and they would tell the kids, if you eat the marshmallows now, this will be the only marshmallow that you get. But if you wait a little longer, later on I will give you another marshmallow, and so you'll get 2 marshmallows. And so they found out that kids who have learned to delay their gratification in hopes of a bigger reward actually scored higher on standardized tests. Personally, I think delaying gratification in the short term can guarantee, for the most part, a better future. However, if we were to apply this principle on a larger scale, the results are not as promising. Let's use career as an example. We've all been told that if we sacrifice now, we are guaranteed a better job or a comfortable retirement or some form of upgrade of our social standing at some point later on in our career. But the problem with this is the career landscape today versus the career landscape 30 years ago are very different. In our parents' generation, for the most part, working hard does guarantee them some sort of financial stability, an upgrade of social status, as well as a comfortable retirement. And this is why they've all learned to do things that way, and because they have seen anecdotal results that it works. But today's world is very different. Permanent jobs are turning into gigs, and the social security that has been promised by our society are being broken. The world is presenting a lot more unpredictability, and we can no longer be promised that there will be light at the end of that tunnel. The younger generation essentially needs to discover strategies by which they can guarantee themselves the reward that a broken society cannot. I do find that there is evident utility and validity in practicing delaying gratification. However, I don't think anyone should dive straight into it without first considering, is your reward really worth delaying? 2 principles that I use to help me think about this question. Number 1, predictability of your trajectory. Number 2, worthiness of your reward. Ask yourself over the processes that you use to achieve that goal. Are the variables largely dependent on yourself or on other people? Does that value reflect your version of reality or somebody else's version of reality? It's important to think about whether that value is so fundamental to your existence in this world such that for the remainder of the time it takes to attain your goal, that value will stay true to you. I think it's realistic and practical to expect that the goals will change at some point, or at least be modified based on your growth and your development. But the value should stay consistent to you because it's something that you embody, something you believe in. Remember that the process of delaying gratification, delaying means that for the most part it will be filled with discomfort and obstacles. Before tying yourself up to a social contract, make sure that it's worth your time and your effort. I think I have to give credit to Jordan Peterson, who did acknowledge the limitations of delaying gratification. He says that, quote, "Not all sacrifices are of equal quality. It often appears that sacrifices of apparently high quality are not rewarded with a better future, and it's not clear why. And to complicate the matter, such delay only becomes useful when civilization has stabilized itself, enough to guarantee the existence of the delayed reward in the future. If everything you save will be destroyed, or worse, stolen, there is no point in saving." Interestingly enough, in 2018, another experiment conducted at NYU has actually debunked the earlier marshmallow experiment. This new study is called Revisiting the Marshmallow Experiment. The researchers found that there's actually very little correlation between the ability to delay gratification and the ability to score high on standardized tests. But what's different about the study is that the researchers actually took into account of the socioeconomic background of the kids that were being experimented on. They found out that the poorer kids have no motivation to delay eating their marshmallow, not because they didn't understand the consequences of that, but rather they live in an environment where there is very little guarantee for food supply in the future. They understood that self-control alone will not enable them to overcome their disadvantage. The rich kids, however, also had no motivation to delay their gratification because they understood that their parents will always buy more and fill up the pantry. They can trust things will always work out in the end, so that even if they don't obtain their second marshmallow today, their parents will guarantee them some sort of snack tomorrow. So applying the results of this experiment to our society today, even though millennials coming from middle to middle upper class family are not technically suffering in poverty per se, but we've all had this understanding that the guarantee for tomorrow's reward is no longer as promising as they used to be. It's similar to the poor kids mentality in this experiment, and that a lack of stability makes people opt for short-term reward rather than long-term reward. I'm not making this video to deny the practice of delaying gratification, because I do believe that it has its utility and it has its place in the way we live in our society, whether it's in the past or it's in the today. However, I do believe that a lot of decisions, especially long-term decisions, should be made based on very careful, thorough judgment rather than tales or values brought to us by institutionalized thinking. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it's brought some sort of insight into how you think and how you might have thought about delaying gratification. If you have any questions, please comment below, subscribe, and like this video. Bye!